that I've accumulated from way too many years of podcasting, and I put it to a good cause. And this is the podcast with a cause. Typically, we have one cause that we highlight, if you will, during our conversation, but we're actually going to highlight quite a few because I have a very special guest with me. I have Mr. Dave Levac. Now, Dave Levac has been many things in his life, and his bio is very lengthy and very long, but there's a bit that he does, and I'm actually going to ask him to do it. It's the I used to be.
I used to be.
So give me the list of the I used to be, because I think that's the funniest, best bio that you could put together. So you used to be.
I used to be a paper boy.
You used to be a paper boy. What else have you been?
Oh, I've done all kinds. I made concrete pipe. I worked at Massey's. I worked at Ford's. Went to university, became a teacher. I taught for 25 years, 12 of that as a principal. And then I got elected as the MPP. I recently retired. I did not run in the last election, and I was the Speaker of the House in Ontario.
Yeah, and I got to say, every time I have these conversations with you, it's the humble in all of us. You know, it's like we're just two people living in Brantford.
That's
You're wearing
all
your
it
shirt.
is.
Exactly. And I was actually going to, I was actually wondering if I was just going to do an episode of Levac in the Shack because, I know, isn't that awesome?
I was there.
Oh, I know. There's something to be said about the Hobo Shack. But yes, this is not Levac in the Shack. I don't think those conversations should be recorded.
No, I don't think they would be.
But this one definitely is. Now, you used to be a lot of things, and obviously, for those that are in the area, MPP for the better part of the decade, this millennium for all intents and purposes. And for the better part of that, you were the speaker. We've had multiple conversations in the past about that. I'm not necessarily going to delve into it. But then all of a sudden, retirement.
A retirement, that's
and the next thing you know, Rosemary's asking you to do this, and you're having to do this. And I know for a fact that you are busier now than you've been before. You're actually having to turn things down.
Yeah, I am. I'm turning some things down. I'm doing kind of the feel-good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a new gig, an actual gig. It's I teach at McMaster 1 day a week.
That's awesome.
And I was allowed to design the course inside of the political science department. And we kind of put experiential learning to work.
Now, this is fourth year, people?
Fourth year,
so this is at the end of their cycle.
This is the rock and roll part where they're there to learn. They're there, and they were very intrigued, engaged. Really great group of kids that went through this course.
Now, was that your first
time?
First time, and that's a full semester? Or
two semesters.
2 semesters.
It was a year long, yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
And now you put that together yourself?
Yes.
Or you
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where did you? How'd you structure it? Like, I generally, this is a conversation I haven't had. You hinted at it last time we talked because you weren't announcing it or whatnot,
wasn't
so I
announcing
knew.
it. Yeah.
But this is the first time we've actually talked about it since that. So before we get into it, you used to be many things, but right now you are a teacher at McMaster University. Tell me about McMaster University and your course.
A great place, good working conditions, and I'll tell you, the chair of the department, Karen Bird, is a brilliant woman who really kind of lets you do your thing and kind of helps you and guides you. And as the post-mortem of this year's course, I'm going to be changing a few things up a little bit. When she and I had a conversation, we're going to be adding a few more things. But I will tell you this, it's a great place. There is a lot of activity going on. The kids are engaged, and the profs are really into it. So I got a good feel for it. Very similar to what I experienced as a student at Laurier, and I know that the same feeling is there on the campus here in Brantford. I just love that feel. There's a lot of energy there, and I got a chance to kind of put some things together that weren't in a textbook. Let's put it that way.
Well, see, and I think that's kind of what I was getting at. You were given carte blanche, for lack of a better term. I'm sure there was some parameters, but it's not like the secondary level where there's a very defined curriculum.
Correct.
When you're in university, first of all, you're taught to learn.
Yes.
The biggest thing you walk away with is to be able to self-learn, regardless of what it is. So the philosophy and all that, you're 3 years of education already before you touch these people. By their fourth year, they're coming out. They need to be ready.
Yes.
And let's be honest, they're not going to get that from a textbook. They need to have something that's closer to real life. And
we visited Queen's Park. We had the former premier come and visit. There was all kinds of factual stuff that was there.
Yep.
But on top of it, it was experiencing what a former MPP was all about, former premiers all about. What was the legislature like? We brought them there. They got to see it. In some cases, they hadn't been since a long time ago when they visited. So they got to see the actions part. And we also reviewed the meat and potatoes of it, which you really don't get in a textbook class kind of thing. So I got to design case studies. So what we did is we took topics and then we turned them into case studies. So I had to first teach what is a case study, how is it structured. We formed groups. There were group contracts. So we did the whole shtick, and they were all kind of really buried in it, and they did a great job. I was really impressed with how good they handled it and how well they handled it. And I'll tell you something else. What's really cool is that all of the people I've asked to come and visit, every one of them said yes.
Oh, why wouldn't you?
So they all came and visited, and they really did a great job. It wasn't just politicians either. I brought in lobbyists and that kind of stuff to teach them the job opportunities inside of the legislature / politics is huge. And they're engaged. So it turned out really good. It was a great little gig.
You know, it's funny. A lot of the people that have been on this particular series, so, because I've done other podcasts, but this particular series have had a lot of people that you would know. And a lot of them fall into the category of if Dave Levac calls asking for a favor, you say yes. Doug Hunt, Randy Pappel, myself, the list goes on, right? Right down to, I'm sure, Jordan Zokes to a certain degree, right? And we had Rick Mannon on, a couple of weeks ago. All of these people. And similarly, if Randy calls and says, I need something.
Same thing.
It's done. There's certain people that, the word integrity, I think, comes into play on that one.
That's a good way to put it. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And here's why. Here's why. Because all of the people you mentioned to a person, they're there in it for somebody else. They're there in it to do good. They're there in it because somebody else is going to benefit from it, and it's about community.
Yeah.
So that's where the connection between what we're talking about as we finish the episode, we're going to talk about charity. We're going to talk about community activity, community work. Those are the reasons why those people say yes. Because if it's a call, it's usually not, oh, come help me move, fill my truck, pull out the bushes in my backyard. That's not why they get the call.
No.
They get the call because it's to do something about the community.
I say this a lot, and you know me, I'm in marketing as well as a whole bunch of other stuff. It's not about me.
Yeah. I like that.
It's never supposed to be about me. You'll never, you've seen my work. There's never my branding on it. Heck, I don't even announce who I am when I do this podcast.
Who are you?
Exactly.
Anyway?
It doesn't matter, right? I'm the moderator in this conversation. It doesn't matter. It's not about us, especially when we're talking about charity, and I'll say it right now. One of the, I've worked on $1 billion projects, like I said, we've had some talks about my previous life or whatnot, but I've worked on some fairly large systems and I've designed some fairly complicated systems. Nothing brings me more pride, joy, meaning, blah, 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 than that Think of It project.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that trumps
clockwork, isn't it?
Oh, my God. It's I will go to bed at night. I will die tomorrow knowing that I did one good thing to people that needed it.
Yep.
And my name is not on there at all. Now, I take pride in it. You know me. I love these things. But it's never about me. And to me, that's real charity.
Yep.